have just finished.
Oh,
Hello. I have just finished. Finished what? Having a wee? I don't know.
what have you just finished?
I have just finished watching Ant-Man Quantumania, mate. That's what I have.
Oh, there you go. That's very topical.
Like, no, thank God it is. Otherwise, people will be wondering, what has he just finished?
What has he finished?
Yeah. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm all right. It's a good day. It was sunny, and now it's not. It's just got really cloudy and dark. But it was a good sunny Saturday morning. Yeah.
It was.
How are you?
Same here, mate. It was sunny, and yet, like as you have perfectly described.
Thank you.
It is grey again.
Yeah, it's gone very grey. But you're looking sharp, mate. You've had a little trim.
I've had a little trim. I decided, enough is enough. I try and time my haircuts. I don't do much, if anything, at home because I'm petrified that I'm just going to walk out the door looking even worse if I try and correct anything. So I just wait until my next haircut. So I go from homeless to like well kempt, like just like that, and then wait till I get homeless again.
You look bloody delightful. Whatever vision we've got of you, you look great, mate.
Oh, stop it. But yeah, and also very much helped incredibly by a new webcam as well.
Mate, it looks amazing. It's crystal clear.
It's a crystal clear webcam. Thank you very much, Logitech. No, I mean, don't know why I'm thanking you. I paid you for the service, but thank you so much, Logitech.
I love that we willingly just shout out businesses and companies and usually pay for their product and don't get anything back. And we're absolute mugs. We need to get better at this.
Absolutely, because hopefully one day this podcast will reach millions, and at that point, all of these companies we've mentioned, anyone who goes and listens back, have absolute free service there. So I just a big shout out to yourselves, Logitech. If in 5 years we're so massive that you're looking for that we're suddenly like a sponsor, remember this date, please. And boost whatever you're giving us. But yeah, it's a nice webcam. I did a bit of research in case not that anyone cares, but in case you weren't here for the reason why I needed a new webcam was because Peggy McCat bit into the wire. Was that during a podcast, or was that after?
No, it was after one.
It was after one. So I had a webcam, and then after we started recording, she bit into it, and literally all of the things that were connected to that cable just all stopped working.
At least, I mean,
Nuts.
I've got the kids in the living room at the moment, and I'm the only parent. And like, I'm just happy at least my kids don't bite on the cables. Or at least I don't think they do. But like Peggy just wants to be part of it, mate.
Oh, big time! But it has severe consequences because like last night, I spent an hour and a half figuring out what had happened to our Wi-Fi. Right, immediately, like all of our Wi-Fi had stopped working, but the Ethernet connections were working. Right, so I was like, "What has gone on?" Thinking she'd bit into a cable. She hadn't, but I don't know. I think she held a button on our router which basically disabled the Wi-Fi function. So I rang Virgin Media. I did all of the troubleshooting to find out that it was a button I had to press for a long period of time.
Amazing.
Mental.
I just got visions of Peggy just like sitting upright and just with the paw, just gets the little pinky and just goes, bloop, just holds it.
And this button I didn't even know existed, Matt. Like this button is like on the really not prominent on this machine, and I'm like, how on earth did she click that? And you have to hold it, so she must have leant on it. Oh, madness! But yeah, here
Calculated.
we are.
It sounds calculated to me.
It does. It does. I was panicking though. I was like, oh, there's no podcast tomorrow. Yeah. I've got no Wi-Fi. What's going on? But here we are.
Here we are. We are here. It is the beginning of Phase 5, dear listener. It's so brilliant to have you here with us. Welcome to Don't Be a Hero podcast. We are Matt and Forrest. We have been going through the MCU since the very beginning of 2008 Iron Man, and we've been marathoning, and we are now officially at the last leg. and we have met Phase 5, and we are here to review Ant-Man Quantumania.
Here we are, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And the Wasp.
Quantumania.
Well, do you know what? I'll say this. Ant-Man and the Wasp, really? Did she have much of a story? I don't think so. I'm going to go straight in with that, and then we'll explain that later. But anyway, we are here to review Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We have got a lot to talk about, not only obviously about the story, the film itself, but there's lots of things going around it in terms of Kang. What would we do with Kang? I think we should have a chat about that. But mate, I literally, I have just finished. I don't think I was sat here watching the end credit sequences, and I've never been that kind of so fresh to talk about something so immediate. So this is a first as well for me. So first thoughts, mate. What do you think?
Well, before I give my
synopsis.
first thought,
I keep doing this.
Always part of the format you forget, mate. Always
I keep doing this.
I'm there like, will he remember me? Will he remember my moment? So here we go. I'm gonna do.
Wait. Just so you know, dear listener, this is the thing that, again, if you're brand new and you're thinking, "What the heck is this?" Already the format's gone kaput. But Forrest does this brilliant thing where he does a lovely little summary. We all know this, right? And dear Forrest, I want you to really think about, because again, we've only got a few of these left, so I think we need to savor this. All right. So I want us all, dear listener, and me included, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to take a seat back, and let's just listen to the succulent little nod there to Succulent Theatre, dear friends, succulent tones.
You are voice. Building this up because you know I'm going to fuck it up now. You jammy little shit. Right, here we go. Let's go.
Here we go.
Let's do this. Superhero partners Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne return to continue their adventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp. Together with Hope's parents Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym and Scott's daughter Cassie Lang, the family finds themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures and embarking on an adventure that will push them beyond the limits of what they thought possible. There we are. That's it.
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I've got to grow from here. We're only on the first one of Phase 5.
Got to grow, mate. We've been doing this for nearly 2 years plus.
It's brand new. It's Phase 5, mate. Who's remembering the first 4 phases now? We're new people.
We're brand new. This is a brand new slate. Yeah. Could you imagine if we actually didn't watch anything from Phase 5 and this would be the first time we're watching all of it? Even though we do have some of those projects, particularly the latter ones like Echo and all that, but
true that.
Yeah, could you imagine if we just came in completely blank and going, okay, it's going to be brand new, Phase 5 is going to be amazing. And off the bat here with my overviews, it is not amazing. It is not amazing. It is very much still riding on the coattails of what is the problem with Phase 4. We have got unfinished visuals. We have got incoherent, at times, story arcs. We have got needless moments. We have got characters where you love in the first 2 movies but are just not in this third one. The whole genre and tone of what an Ant-Man movie was you thought it was going to be. You think it was going to be a heist movie. And no, it's not. It's not a heist movie at all, is it? It's worse than I thought on second watch. Yes. There we go. I'll say that. Your thoughts?
I agree. I thought this was probably some of the worst 2 hours I've had to experience again. It was. I found it so boring, Matt. I found the whole thing to be a Z-list version of Star Wars at times. They've just shoehorned crappy creatures that have absolutely no story. We meet all of these creatures, and yet we get no backstory or reason to be remotely interested in them whatsoever, right? The people that we do get an interest for, we barely see, and I'm talking about the kind of tribe that come together at the end and help, right? But we barely see them, and we get a lot of very bad performances, quite melodramatic performances. And I feel like a lot of that melodrama comes from just a genuinely kind of bad script. I think the script was terrible.
It was. You've hit it in the nail on the head there. I don't know anybody that loves this movie. See, we talk about Eternals all the time, right? There are some people that do love the movie, and people actually hate the movie, okay? But like, I do not know anyone that actually likes this movie a lot and thinks it was a good watch. I think I don't really know where to start, but I think in terms of where we need to kind of talk is starting with, let's start with Scott. I think we need to just address Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Initially, in that first bit, we are in the wake of Endgame. We are in the moment where Scott Lang has published his new book. I wonder whether there is a real version of that book somewhere. Can you buy it? Can you buy it?
Can you buy the book?
Oh, you can.
You can buy the book, can you?
You can buy the book.
Oh my god. Well, who's... Oh, you...
Shut up.
Oh, mate, you've had your birthday now. How annoying.
This is the incredible story of an ex-con turned world-saving superhero. Look out for the little guy. It is a legit book. I had no idea. See, when I watched it, I was thinking, oh, wow, that would be really funny. Really good marketing tool if that was an actual real book. And yet, here we are. It actually is. You can get it out everywhere, mate. You can get it on Amazon for $10, mate.
Does it include some, like, stories of the Avengers that we didn't know already? Maybe it's got, like, some quite cool lore and backstory in it.
Okay, this is a must. We've got to get that and read a little extract in a Friday episode in the future.
100%. That sounds great.
That really distracted me there. So... What I mean, I'll throw it back at you before I tell you my thoughts. But what do you think about Scott's journey in this compared to the other movies?
Scott's journey compared to the other movies. So, trying to think of what his journey is in the other movies, to be honest, at this rate. But
okay.
I think it was kind of... It's a film, right? This film feels like it's no one's film. It's almost everyone's film. Everyone's in it in a weird equal share, but not quite in it a lot. So even though this is an Ant-Man film, I don't really feel like I've learned anything new about Ant-Man. Right? He's got a daughter. He, even there, it's not like they start the film hating each other and then love each other by the end of the film. So there's zero difference between Cassie and Scott's relationship in the film. Scott and Hank's relationship, exactly the same. Yep. Scott and Janet's relationship, exactly the same. Yep. So the only difference is that he's now aware Darren Cross is alive.
Yep.
And he's and even the end of the film, nothing's changed. Like, yes, okay, they're sympathetic towards Darren Cross in his current form as MODOK. I always get it wrong. MODOK. But exactly the same. And so the only difference is he's met Kang, and Kang's not a nice guy, which we already knew. Kang's not changed. Janet's character probably had the most evolution over the course of the film, because we didn't know she knew Kang. We didn't know what she'd done in the time period she'd been away.
But that pissed me off.
Yeah.
That is the thing that annoyed me the most.
Yeah. Is that what? The fact that it was her, like, the story was mostly hers? Any of the actual story came from her?
I don't care I don't mind that it was her story and we were following her story, but it was the way that it was told. And the fact that some movies just give too much exposition, right? And this was one of those where it was just too much exposition. And particularly in Janet's circumstance, it was all we can't be here. I told you we shouldn't be here. I knew we shouldn't have come. And like literally that was for like a whole hour in where nothing but all of the people around her were asking her questions about, well, what do you know that we don't know? What is going on? What aren't you telling us? Literally those questions were asked for literally 47 at least. It wasn't until I think the 50th to the 60th mark or in the film where she actually reveals what's going on with Kang and realizes that's what she's hiding. But then also, fair enough, you've kept your mouth stum and you've decided to keep your mouth stum. But when you have been in contact with somebody like that, and also you have accidentally seen through his memories, nobody would hold that information. Nobody would keep that. And even if they did, they have to have a flipping good reason to do so.
Yeah.
And that is where I'm like, I can't get on board with that because it doesn't justify the silence. No. She would have said years ago, she would have said, even when the moment she came back, you need to know about this guy, Kang. And then even if she did say that then, and then they decided to go, well, let's go and stop him and go to the quantum realm, I probably would have been on board with that a little bit more than actually what happened.
Yes. Yeah.
That bit really hurts me.
I can agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that it was so, what's the word, convoluted maybe, at the beginning in regards to like, oh, we're here, we're following Scott. Scott's like, oh, he's selling this book, he's popular, he's famous, he's taking the extra fame. Oh, here's Cassie. What's Cassie been up to? Oh, they're in the quantum realm.
Yeah,
it was like zero, and like from what you were saying, right? The build-up needed to have come from Janet warning them and talking about Kang, talking about all the backstory should have been at the beginning of the film, and then when they got on there, it was like go, loads of action, all the stuff, right? We didn't need them to go into the quantum realm and then learn it all. It was like the wrong way round. It's like who wants to see them just meeting aliens and having a weird cameo by what's his face? Oh my god, the guy, Zombieland, really famous guy, Ghostbusters. You know what I'm on about. Bill Murray, that's it.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's character of Lord Kryler, right? Absolutely pointless. Most pointless character I've ever seen. We're never going to see him again. Absolutely no reason to pay Bill Murray to come in and do one scene, and then he disappears. So it's just lots and lots of moments on the quantum realm, which the whole thing's pointless. It's not an MCU film. This might as well be a standalone film because we're never going to meet these characters again. Half of them are dead now. Yeah. So I'm like, what? Kang's got, like, that version of Kang seemingly killed, even if he isn't killed, it's that story to him, that arc isn't big enough for him to, if he is still alive, he's not going to be going, oh, Loki, I've had a really tough challenge with a guy called Ant-Man, and it was really scary meeting Janet, never going to be mentioned again. The whole film's pointless. It's utterly pointless.
Yeah. No, it is.
No one's learned anything at worst, and they even take the piss out of that because at the end, you've got Scott going, "Oh well, I've defeated Kang. Oh, have I? Oh, maybe I haven't." So the only difference from beginning to end is that he knows there is a guy called Kang, but he's not quite sure what the threat is and what Kang is capable of.
Yep.
because the only person who does is Janet, and Janet's not fully aware of what he's capable of, because the only way Janet's even remotely knowledgeable about what he's capable of is that she saw into the future and saw clips. What?
Oh, sorry.
What?
Sorry, the girls have got very excited. Mummy's back home. Hang on, I've got to put myself on mute. Hang on.
To contextualise it,
I shouldn't put it on mute. It's gone into the podcast now.
Matt's put himself on mute about 5 times already. Hello, Rach. Welcome back home.
He says, "Welcome home."
Thank you.
What have you been doing, Rach? Tell us. Tell us all.
I've been preparing for our regional showcase performance, so I have today just been rehearsing for that.
Oh, the regional.
A little bit of Basement Jacks.
Oh, fantastic. Basement Jacks.
Yeah.
Basement Jacks musical, or?
Yeah, Basement Jacks musical.
Oh, fantastic.
That'd be well good. I go to that.
That'd be good, wouldn't that?
Well, he's reaching to get his earpiece back now.
Well, we were just ranting.
What were you ranting about? Can I do my defence now?
What? Yeah. What was your defence?
You know, the other week when you were like, "Have you seen Wakanda Forever?" Was it Wakanda Forever?
I don't know. Yeah.
And I said no, and then Forrest was like, "No, surprise, surprise." I would just like to point out. I know you're going to edit this out, but I just think that people should know. I'm
going to edit it out right at this moment. So just as you're about to say it will go
when
break.
You guys go to the cinema,
yeah,
with other people, I don't get invited. I'm just going to leave that there.
So yes, that's what I thought of. Just the film in the most general way possible. I just thought it's
This movie, I've got to be honest, I think aggravated me more, and this might be controversial for you, dear listeners, as well. But this aggravated me more than Eternals. Because even now, with you saying just then that it was a completely pointless movie, when you actually think about it, you really don't need to watch this movie to then continue watching onto the MCU and understanding what's going on with the characters. Because I can almost guarantee you that nothing from this movie will be ever explored again or furthered. But what I will say is if it doesn't, that will be a shame. And this is what I mean about Kang. Only about Kang here. I'm only talking about all the other characters. You could quite easily forget about it, but I think with Kang, I don't know whether we talk about this later or talk about. Should we just talk about it now? We're doing it now. We're talking about it now.
Well, but before you do, is to just reinforce what you said about the Eternals, because actually, give credit to Eternals at this rate, because at least in Eternals we're establishing characters that are going to have quite a strong link to future, and that is fine, right? If we look at what we've said before about the MCU and it's fine it's fine to have a film that has no other links, but it either can't be part of the universe and it is just a Marvel property that is using a character that we've met before, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Or it's a special in the same way that what's it called? No, that's the
I
game.
did not want to help you.
That's the game version.
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night, right? In the same vein. But even Werewolf by Night is going to use characters and other properties now. So
what was it going to be? Death by what? Death by what?
I think I was thinking of Death by Daylight, which is that game, isn't it?
It's a game, yeah.
Yeah. So trying to fuck me over there, Matt. You little bestito. But yeah, no, that Werewolf. That's the one.
But yeah,
anyway,
Eternals had more of a story. It introduced characters. It had more of a narrative arc. I can't believe I'm saying this. It had more of a narrative arc, and it was you could watch Eternals and not watch another MCU.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With this, you can watch out Quantumania. Quantumania.
Quantumania.
You can watch Quantumania and you'll be left with feeling confused. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, what is this? Who is this? Why are they being? And then all of a sudden, the problem with Kang is in this instance is that this was very much a movie that was set up to introduce Kang for the Kang that we need going for the future in future projects. It was very deliberately placed. They deliberately took the concept of Ant-Man. In the last 2 movies of Ant-Man, we've had these heist movies, we've had a new kind of genre, and this is going all the way back to kind of phase 3, when we're kind of reviewing all the movies in phase 3. All of these individual movies were starting to have their own identity. Ant-Man was a heist movie, and that was something that it brought its own fan base, and it brought a new fan base, and you could argue a younger fan base as well, more family orientated. This just took it completely out and went, well, we've got to introduce Kang, so it can't be a heist movie because it's going to be in the quantum realm. And then all of a sudden, it's just there to serve a purpose for one person. And it's very clear that's the case. And that's where you miss out on opportunities with MODOK. You introduce MODOK, who is a beloved Marvel comic book character, had lots of hype around it as well. And then, for Christ's sake, you introduce Darren Cross as MODOK. Great, that works. I like that, you know. I think and it gives him a second wind in the MCU. But then just designing him like that is absolutely criminal. Criminal. And his face looks absolutely ridiculous. It's like it was something. It's like it's something out of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like there have been memes around that when the movie came out. It's a stretched face. It's something you look at on a 1980s TV screen. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And even if that was a choice for comical effect, it doesn't work. You are living in an age now where if you are going to play, like for instance, okay, in this movie, Ant-Man had a brand new piece of kit that was introduced by Disney, which is called the Volume, which is effectively a 360 projector that literally visually shows the visual effects of what's happening in the movie. And they actually don't have to do any of that in post. They just see that and they act with that and they create the circumstances for the actors through this $1 million plus piece of equipment, high-tech stuff. It was used in Mandalorian for the first time, and it was used in Ant-Man Quantumania. And you can see that they really didn't know what to do with this type of technology, because you go from that to then also then having an unfinished, squashed, stretched out face of MODOK that looked like it was something out of the early 90s or early 2000s. What are you doing? Cutting edge technology, or are you just going to mesh together kind of visual effects that just don't work? The visual effects were absolutely all over the place. I do have a bit of trivia for you though, mate, about it.
Ooh.
So apparently, to an anonymous interview, this is an anonymous one, but a visual effects artist said that the quality of the effects of this film was sacrificed in favour of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. In terms of and this is a direct quote from this anonymous person. In terms of priority, Wakanda Forever was definitely at the top of the list. All the money went to that. All the best resources went to that. It's understandable given the context with Chadwick and everyone and everything and how well the first film did, but it did diminish the ability to carry Ant-Man all the way through. For Ant-Man, there was a lot of editorial changes happening towards the latter third and fourth of the project that were just too late. There we go. I mean, the quote goes on, but like that shows. It shows. It was. You can tell the whole movie was done on a green screen. It was done on this volume thing that they've been using in terms of the kit, and it just didn't have the time or the space for it to be done efficiently. But that's just the visual effects. That's not the story. The story's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah. But also, my thing would be, this film didn't need to be where it was, right? And this film's not needed, apparently, like, to be quite honest. But I mean, if the visual effects had to be prioritised for Black Panther, and I'm assuming that's because of the time frame that it was given to both properties, just delay Ant-Man. Like the film was not fundamental, apart from an end credit scene which teases Loki. Right, we already knew Kang through Loki, so it didn't matter when this film came into it, because it's a different version of Kang anyway. So I don't quite understand if that was an issue. If it was an issue, which I hope it is, because if it wasn't an issue, then they really fucked up the visual effects. Is why not just delay it? Like, and and they've learned, I think they've learned their lesson by the fact that we are getting much fewer films now. They've cut a lot, they've moved a lot, and I think they've surely learned a lesson that this. And that's just talking about visual effects, like you say. That does not make up for the fact that the script is horseshite. Just to talk about the script, actually, I put in my notes, the script towards the end is worse than a fucking soap. There was a bit where I think Cassie says to Scott, she says, he's getting out. And then Scott says, oh, no, he's not. And then walks to, and I'm like, wow, most original piece of script writing. And then we just see like a large Ant-Man. It's when Kang's the ship starts to move, I think. And he's like, oh, they're getting out. Oh no, he's not. And then they just walk, and I'm like, oh my god, this moment just sums up how shy this is.
It doesn't flow at all. But this is the other thing, like with even with the script, nothing really comes out that's a massive revelation about a character, maybe apart from Janet's character, but that is then not done diligently. That's done through being silent in the movie and looking concerned and be like, I can't tell you what's going on, please, what's going on, Mum? I can't tell you shouldn't have come here, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, oh no, I'll tell you now. Why? Because we're an hour into the movie and we have to make sure the audience are dedicated and haven't left yet. And apart from that, everything kind of felt trivial. And even when it came to moments with Kang's lines, I think the delivery, I think Jonathan Majors, obviously did well with this, but he did what he could with it. And I think that goes to say with a lot of them, I think a lot of them did what they could with the scripts. It just... It feels as well, mate. It's quite immature. It feels quite immature as a movie, particularly with that kind of that new group that we saw, the tribe that we saw, introducing with those characters. It felt like we were trying to imitate Ragnarok, Thor, Taika Waititi vibes, where it just wasn't needed. The color palette as well, it was all reminiscent of Taika stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like I say, the creature, it was very Star Wars. It was very Star Wars-esque. Like, we were trying to get Star Wars characters, but the difference being is that Star Wars, even with the odd characters, right, they most of the characters are highly sophisticated in Star Wars, and actually you'll find that they have quite a good backstory. Like, regardless of what clan or race or wherever they're from or whatever the character is, they've got an incredible backstory, and are either a targeted species by Vader. What is going on in your house, mate? What's that noise?
What?
What's that noise, mate?
Tap.
Someone.
Sorry.
Okay. It sounds like you're about to set off, mate. Oh, you're on a little spaceship. Oh, Matt's just turned the TARDIS on. Okay. It's just mad. But funny you mentioned the acting. The only thing I will say is that Catherine Newton, who played Cassie, I'm sure is lovely. In my opinion, I don't feel like she's a very strong actress. I've got to be honest.
Why was it recast?
Don't know, but I don't know. What did you think? I felt, and I don't know what else she's been in, but I did not feel that Catherine Newton was a very strong actress at all. I've got to be honest.
So it was lackluster for starters. It was completely lackluster. I don't know whether it was all down to script. Maybe it wasn't, but the stakes really weren't played that much. But again, it didn't. The story didn't lend itself to get to justification to those stakes. I've just found out the reason why is that they only recast her to sort of accommodate to her true age. But
yeah, I just did, like I say, there was no stakes there, but also I didn't get any personality. Like, what was she supposed to? Like, okay, she's interested in tech because her whole family is, and her whole family have made a whole livelihood of that, right? But where's her personality? So they built her up as like a protester, didn't they? So she was in prison. She starts off in prison because she's like campaigning against people during a blip are homeless, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's and don't they talk about that? Isn't that? Is that Secret Invasion where we get that? I'm trying to think of the word. Repatriation? You going to help me at all? You're just going to look at me?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
You know,
pre-reputation.
No, it's about rehousing someone, isn't it? It's
prerequisite. Rehoming. Relocating.
She mentions at the start of the film, and that's all they're going about in Secret Invasion is about
refugees.
No,
it's
the act of. I think it's the act. Oh my god, this is gonna be awful if neither one of us get this before it goes out. And
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Repatriation.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
She says it at the beginning of the film. She's in the car after the prison, and she goes, "Oh, they're being, oh my god, what are they
reprimanded?"
No, people after blip in MCU are being
retaken. They're being Liam Neeson. They're being
Liam Neeson. Oh no! It's not a Secret Invasion. It's in Captain America. It's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's where
repackaged.
I'm gonna find it, mate, and you are gonna be like, yes, I know exactly. They say it so often after the blip. It's the act that everybody goes through when they come back and they've like their lives have changed and they get
reculminating, readjusting.
No,
This is great, isn't it, dear listener? This is absolutely delightful.
This is so annoying because
it's also very typical of us as well.
It's highly typical of us. You talk about someone else. Talk about Kang for a minute.
I don't know if I want to. I think I quite like this weird, like. We've lost the flow, but it's also quite like we're investigating something together. I'm bemused. If anything, I'm bemused by your face right now. He's looking at the screen. He's really trying to find it. Dear listener, if you
I found it.
Okay, wait.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Now go on, say it. You've ruined it now.
Repatriation. They're the Global Repatriation Council. It's in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Is reference to the chaos around the world, right? And it's on about displacement. It's the displacement of people.
Why didn't you say so?
Shut up. With a substantial number of people living as refugees awaiting repatriation. So repatriation is a return of a thing or person to its country of origin.
Of course it is. It's obvious.
You're such a prick. You are such a fucking dick.
I can't believe you didn't know that word.
If you could see his jammy little face, I've never seen him look like a Cheshire Cat, but I've now got it. You've not even heard the word said, have you? You've not even heard that word.
No, of course I know it.
Often
it's used all the time.
Shut up. But yeah, anyway, by the by, talking about Cassie, she uses it at the beginning of the programme. So they make her out, they make her character. Beginning of the film, she's in the car, and basically they make out that she's a bit of a Greta Thunberg type character, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't continue. She doesn't remain like a rebellious, like in any way, shape, or form, right? And there's a moment where she could have done that, right? Her and Scott are in prison, and Kang is in the middle of them, right? Yep. And you've got Scott is desperately pleading with Kang to leave Cassie alone. If Cassie was truly the character that we saw in those first scenes of the film, why would she give it? She'd be like, no, bloody stick it to it. Like, go, I don't care. What's he going to do? Try and kill me? Like, because ultimately, all Kang ended up doing was raising her through the ceiling and slightly moving her arm. So she would have been like, do you want to be the guy that kills me off? I don't think you do.
Do you know what I would have liked to have seen? Do you know what I would have liked to have seen from Cassie in this? What we didn't get. What should have happened in this movie is that, going on the fact that you meet her coming out of prison. All right, so she's a freedom fighter. She's fighting for rights. She's finding her own identity. She's got the Lang rebel inside her, which is really exciting. I think it's exciting for a character to sort of play. I think she's clearly in a discovery mode in that. Now that, like you say, was not played out fully at all. It was kind of left behind, even from the end of the first act of the movie. It should have been the through line for her character. What I would have liked to have happened is when they initially went into the quantum realm, Scott and Cassie are immediately split up. So we're not split up into 2 groups, but we're split up into 3 groups. You've got Hank Pym, you've got Janet and Hope together. The family are there. Scott is by himself and Cassie is by herself. Scott goes down a Kang route immediately, meets Kang, goes all through that kind of stuff. Cassie meets this group, meets Gentora, who is played by KTM O'Brien, who is coincidentally in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And also, she could have met this group. They're being like, we've been kicked out. There's this tyrant called Kang. We understand the bad side of Kang, where Scott could have actually got into a kind of a good side of Kang and been like, he's absolutely all right. And then we see Cassie fighting for the rights of these people and developing this kind of like, no, we've got to team up, guys. We've got to work together. No, don't be downtrodden. This isn't your home. That's your home. It's taken from you. And she could rally up a group, have this kind of leadership vibe to her, have this freedom fighter vibe to her. And then we get to the last act. We see a realized version of a hero from her. We see a new, ant person, I don't know, or whatever. Like, there was none of that character arc played out. There was no opportunity for her to do it. Instead, she was just stuck with Scott, used as a pawn, used as a, oh no, Dad, please be okay, Dad. And it's just like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
Also, out of all of the characters in this film, it would have been realistic that she's the one that would have been relevant for future films. Because if you think about Young Avengers and you think about, the fact that she is a young character and ultimately, will have the longest shelf life for the universe. Yeah, but it totally wasn't like that kind of arc would have lent itself to it. And certainly having her be like a strong character by the end, but I've got no reason to want to watch any more of that character because she did like. Okay, she did things, but of no more importance than anybody else in that film.
But actually going back to it, with Cassie, talking about the fact that we didn't have much of a heist movie, it could have been that we could have got the heist part from Cassie's story. We could have been with her with this group and they're trying to get back their home and they're doing it stealth. They're doing it stealth style. They're slowly going back into these places. They're taking out these people. They need to grab something that's important. There's a heist element to it that you could have stuck true to from the previous movies, with also being able to tell this new character, this whole multiversal thing that we need to go through. That's it. Oh my God. That's made me even more annoyed. The fact that we've thought of that sat here.
Didn't even need an AI program to work that one out.
Come on. That's poor form. Poor bloody form, people. I'm outraged. K-Dog. K-Dog, I'm talking to you right now, K-Dog. It's been a while since we've addressed you personally on this podcast, but here I am. I'm stuck to it. I cannot help myself but to direct myself to you, K-Dog. What happened here? What happened here, man? Sorry. I was going to go further. You've muted yourself. But I can't be... I don't know where it's going.
Was there anything that you enjoyed about the film?
Honestly, Forrest, it's really difficult to answer that.
Ooh.
I genuinely... The only thing I enjoyed from this movie were the moments of Kang, because it was a new... And again, at the time, it was a new villain. It was something we were invested in. We knew this was going to be a villain, the new Thanos in a way. And I was invested in then. And when I was watching it now, all I see it as is a potential completely missed opportunity of a very, very good villain. Now, now we're kind of touching on it. In terms of Kang, I really do hope that they just recast him and they just carry on with the story and finish the story. Talking about WWE there, guys. If you want to finish the story, right? And they're not going to, and I don't think that they will. I feel like they're going to move away from it and they're going to kind of sweep it under the rug and go, we'll get to Kang later. Let's just focus on somebody else or introduce a new villain. And I really hope they don't. But they've got to. And if we don't get this fully realised Kang, well, what's the point? That will kill the MCU. Because right now, in the present, we are still invested in Kang. Forget about Jonathan Majors. In the character of Kang, we are invested in that story. So therefore, as a fan base, we deserve to get the payoff of what happens with this character, with or without him. All right, and I hope that. Well, yeah. What do you think? Do you think they'll keep him?
I don't. No, they won't keep him.
They've definitely got rid of him.
I don't think they've officially dropped him. No, he's been dropped by agents and all sort. But I don't think Marvel themselves have come out yet and outright said that he's not Kang, or that he's not going to be used in future films. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I think that's other people reporting they believe that, but.
They did fire him. They did fire.
Oh, did they? They have fired him
on the 18th of December. But
okay.
But the thing is, what I mean by that is that they have fired him. They can also rehire him.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't want them to, but
no, I have a sneaky suspicion. And someone that I've just thought of right now. What could happen? So we talked, I think in our last roundup, or certainly recently, we've talked about the fact that Deadpool 3 is coming out at the same time as the San Diego Comic-Con, and they use that Comic-Con to kind of release a lot of information. MCU, Disney do, all of them. I wouldn't be surprised if Deadpool have reshot the end so that it can work as an end of Phase 5. So what they do is they make Phase 5 the Kang phase. They finish the phase through Deadpool, so they find a way to finish that character, loop it back into Loki, maybe, something they do, which actually wouldn't be far off because it's part of the TVA anyway. So to loop it into Loki would make complete sense. And then they use San Diego to announce that next year we'll jump straight into Phase 6, which I don't know if was already the plan anyway. Was next year the start of Phase 6, or was it the year after?
Let's not give any false information here, dear Forrest.
Only the correct info.
Only correct. July 2025 is when we think the first phase release of Phase 6.
So, and is that the first film build for next year?
Fantastic Four.
And so there isn't one before Thunderbolts?
I think that's Phase 5, mate.
Phase 5. So I basically think that's going to change. So I think they will stop Phase 5 completely. They will say that was the Kang saga, and then they will introduce the new villain in the end credit scene of Deadpool. And that will start Phase 6. They'll completely forget about Kang. We'll move from Kang, and we'll move to a new
Doesn't
character.
that piss you off though?
Not really, mate. I've actually been all for that, because I think Jonathan Majors did Kang, and I don't want another Kang. I don't want like Kang 2.0. I would rather have a brand new character that stemmed from an actor who that's their strength. We're just going to be continually comparing whoever does it next to Jonathan Majors Kang, and that's not fair on the new actor.
Yeah, we might not. It depends who it is, I suppose. But but Kang's story has really only just kicked off.
Yeah,
only just begun.
But also, it means that all of the films that we have just watched won't be that actor anyway. So any new energy they bring will be a completely different person. And yeah, okay, they're different characters, but they're not, because Loki's Kang is still about. That's the Kang we're following. So we can't, for me, I'd rather just clean cut. And it is a shame, but that's on Jonathan Majors. That's not on Marvel.
I feel like that discredits the fandom. I feel like that cuts everybody short just because he was an absolute knobhead. Do you know what I mean?
It's not to me. Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. I mean,
I love this. This is great.
I think would it not be fair enough to bring Kang back later on though? Maybe. So I think disregard it now. Bring it. A lot of people have said Doctor Doom, for instance, could be like an overall threat and would make sense because we're bringing in Fantastic Four and all that stuff. So maybe it's get Doctor Doom in as the ultimate. Like, is it Doctor Doom is the one that people are like, Doctor Doom's a great character and I think would be a great overall villain, right? And I think maybe do that, and then after. Maybe when we originally have a rehash of the wider MCU, which they'll inevitably do within the next 15 years, and maybe where Thanos was the first major villain, maybe it's Kang.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does really, I suppose. I just think that if we don't get a completion in the story of Kang, everything we have watched so far that introduces Kang, and even what we need to talk about in Loki Series 2, will all be for absolutely flipping naught. And it'll be a waste of time, it'll be a waste of resources, and a waste of energy and money for the consumers that have spent time investing themselves. And as well, this is what MCU have got themselves into: extended bit of storylines, extended stories that thread through from one project to another. They've got in this is what we know now. They can't just go, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to, just because he was a naughty boy, we're going to go do this now. Come on, come with us. And it's like,
But that's what I mean. You're putting it from an audience point of view. What actor or actress wants to fill the boots of someone who's just done a character and done it extremely well, and then gone and fucking committed a crime and therefore come out of the role? No, you're not going to want to follow that, are you? You're going to want... So me as an actor would want to go, this is a fresh character they haven't bought before, or they certainly haven't bought for a long while, and I've got my stamp on it, and this is going to be kick-ass better than the last 2 years you've been watching.
There is one person only, that can play Kang as a recast, as an older Kang. So we get an older Kang. So we get somebody that's a little bit more aged.
If you say Pedro Pascal, I am punching you in the throat.
It's Harry Styles. No. But it's got to be. If we're talking about recasting Kang here, I think there's only one person that can play Kang, and on the rate of their merit as an actor, as a performer, but also they would bring something so flipping good, is Coleman Domingo, who is an absolutely outstanding actor, Oscar nominee as well. He's I think he's 54. So you would get an older version of Kang. but the absolute stoicness, the intimidation, the we like to use this word at the moment. It's a very on trend word. Aura of him would work so well in Kang.
He is incredible.
That would be mine.
He was incredible as Victor Strand in Fear the Walking Dead, which is what I know him best. He was awesome. I think he would be an incredible Kang. But yeah, I don't know. Because and what would you do with all of so films like this? What they just keep it as Jonathan Majors and we just move on with a completely different guy?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, did a fine moment like you're obviously not going to redo the film, are you? But
no.
like the end credit scene, would you redo it so it's got?
There's no point.
Coleman.
There's ways around the fact that you are quite in a good position where you've got an infinite amount of Kangs, right? So. And you can see
Kang's just a completely different guy.
Well, you've got the for instance, in the end credit sequence of Quantumania, you've got the Council of Kangs, right? All these different versions of Kang. Yes, they're all played by Jonathan Majors, but you've got like an alien version of Kangs in there. You've got different eras, different types. So yes, the faces of Kangs would actually be different. Because if you've got this alien version, not to say there's not going to be another human that looks slightly different. So I think there's an evolution of Kang, and I think there's a way of telling that story, and you don't even really need to address it. But if you cast him older and wiser, then then you can excuse it as well, because you do recast. I mean, we had to recast Cassie here to make it look like a teenager. So you can go through that route, and it can be done. And I don't think the audience will care that much.
This is the one occasion where I can't say I'm convinced, Matt, mate. But I'm interested. Coleman would be amazing. But again, if we did Kang in 10 years' time and Coleman was 54 still. But to go straight, I don't know. I'd be very interested, listeners, to hear what you think. That's what we've hit a stumbling block between us. What do you think? Can you convince us, each other of our different opinions? Yeah. Do you think? Not what you think's going to happen. What do you think should happen? Should Kang be recast, or should we have a new threat for the MCU?
Good question. Okay, so going back to Quantumania, I think we're there in terms of our final thoughts. There's very little that I would go back to watch in this movie, and even in the moments where I thought Paul Rudd was giving good performances, it was squeezed by just convoluted storylines. It was a complete misfire. I'm even in my genuinely saying this as well. I'm putting it down there with Eternals.
Ooh.
Almost neck and neck. I'm not joking, like neck and neck. I think if I watched Eternals one more time, I think it might be above slightly, which would make our dear friend Pete happy. It would make it slightly above Quantumania.
I agree. I completely agree. I do think this is equal to Eternals. I can't even get it out my system because it hurts me to say. But yeah, I think this was genuinely terrible. I'm going to go straight in with a crisp rating, Matt. I think this is a stale bag of cheese and onion. I hate the flavour cheese and onion, and the visual effects weren't even done properly, so they're stale. So that's mine. Don't need to say it anymore.
Bag of cheese and onion.
What would you rate it?
I'm gonna go an empty packet of no, not empty. No, you know those really horrible cheesy puffs that you get in well, to be honest, the cheap ones, the big cheesy puff ones, right?
Oh yeah.
Imagine them, dear listener. Okay, big full to the brim. All right, but they've been crushed. and it's nothing. It's nothing but dust.
Yeah,
that is what this movie is.
Do you know what? Funny you said that, right? So I had a little treat this week and got some Oreos, right? Thought I'd treat myself. Yeah,
Treat yourself.
Treat myself. But all of the Oreos were not fully crushed, just half crushed. So like it had the circle shape of the Oreo, but the outside was all like crumbly, and I was like, this is the most disappointed I've been opening anything in my life. It was tragic.
Mate. That's tragic.
So yes, yeah, mushy puffs. Mushy puffs.
Mushy puffs.
Love a mushy puff, me. But we've done that. We're part Ant-Man. Would you like some good news?
I would. Actually, for once, I would.
We, next week, after the bonus episode, we are reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And
yeah.
We are jumping from Eternals level crap to probably one of the top 2% of MCU film. I remember coming out of the cinema for Guardians 3 last year, and we were beyond elated. It was a roller coaster ride. The villain is brilliant. The character stories are fantastic. The visual effects are amazing. The comedy's hilarious. I can't wait, Matt. I can't wait.
That's going to be great.
So definitely, if you've listened to this and you feel like going to bed and having a cry, I can only apologise. But next week's will be far more positive as we review Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yes.
Come on. See you there. Well, we'll see you at the bonus on Friday. Ooh.
Oh yeah. No, I'll see you there.
Bye, Matt.
Bye, my friend. I love you.
Love you too. Bye there. Ta-ra.